Why are so many Americans paying thousands of dollars to escape into silence for a few days? Why, in a culture filled with constant communication and hyperconnection, does the absence of words suddenly feel like medicine? And why are community retreats, once seen as niche experiences, becoming mainstream for people exhausted by work, social media, and the pace of digital life? These questions are at the heart of a rising trend in wellness travel, the silent retreat. People leave behind phones, jobs, and noise to sit quietly together in nature. They come seeking healing, but what they often find is something even deeper, a return to themselves. And when paired with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, these retreats become not just escapes, but training grounds for resilience, clarity, and peace. Across the United States, the demand for wellness travel has surged. Industry studies show that Americans are spending more on experiences that promise healing, reflection, and personal growth. From yoga retreats in Hawaii to meditation centers in the Rocky Mountains, the options are endless. Among these, silent retreats stand out. Unlike vacations filled with activity and entertainment, these retreats strip away stimulation. Participants rise early, often before dawn. They eat simple meals, walk slowly in nature, and spend long hours in meditation or reflection. The silence can feel overwhelming at first, even uncomfortable. But as the noise fades, something remarkable happens. The mind slows, the heart steadies, and space opens for clarity. In a world dominated by noise, silence becomes revolutionary. The rise of this movement makes sense when we consider the cultural context. Americans today are some of the most connected people in history, yet rates of loneliness and stress remain high. Phones buzz constantly with notifications. Work emails invade weekends and vacations. Social media keeps people comparing themselves to carefully curated images of others' lives. Even leisure time is filled with noise. TV streaming, podcasts, endless scrolling. Silence, once natural in daily life, has become rare and precious. No wonder people are willing to travel long distances just to find it again. Silent retreats are not just about rest, they're about recovery from overstimulation. Here is where Stoicism provides a unique lens. The Stoics valued silence not as escape, but as discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily to be silent and attentive, to listen more than he spoke, and to find truth in reflection. Seneca wrote of the importance of withdrawing into oneself, not to avoid the world, but to return to it stronger. Epictetus advised his students to avoid idle chatter and focus words on what mattered. For the Stoics, silence was not emptiness, but strength. It created space to examine thoughts, to align actions with virtue, and to detach from distractions. Modern retreats echo this wisdom, often unknowingly. They strip away the noise so participants can see clearly. Imagine a young professional from New York City, burned out from long hours and digital overload. They book a weekend silent retreat in the Catskills. The first day feels unbearable. Without a phone, they feel anxious, cut off. Without conversation, they feel awkward among strangers. Meals are quiet, walks are slow, and time feels heavy. But by the second day, something shifts. The anxiety softens. The mind begins to wander less. They notice details in nature, the sound of birds, the texture of leaves, the rhythm of their breath. By the third day, they feel lighter. They have not spoken a word, yet they feel connected to others in the room, united in shared silence. This is not just relaxation, it is a reorientation of attention. It is what Marcus Aurelius practiced when he reminded himself to focus only on what is essential. The Stoic frame also prevents retreats from becoming mere escapism. One risk of wellness travel is that it becomes a temporary high, a bubble of peace that bursts as soon as the participant returns home. Without philosophy, silence can feel like a pleasant vacation, disconnected from real life. But Stoicism teaches that silence is training. The retreat is not the goal, it is preparation for the noisy world. The point is not to live forever in retreat, but to return with resilience. When silence is paired with Stoic reflection, participants learn to carry calm into daily life. They realize they cannot control the noise of the world, but they can control their response. They cannot eliminate stress entirely, but they can face it with clarity. The wellness travel industry often markets retreats as luxury experiences, but Stoicism reminds us that peace does not require exotic locations or expensive packages. Seneca practiced silence in his own home, retreating inward even in busy Rome. Epictetus found calm despite living in poverty and pain. Marcus Aurelius reflected in his journal while leading armies. Their wisdom shows that silence is not tied to luxury, but to discipline. For Americans who cannot afford pricey retreats, this is liberating. Shared silence can be found in local communities, churches, libraries, or simply in setting aside phones during meals. The principle matters more than the package. Still, there is something uniquely powerful about shared silence. When people gather together in quiet, the experience deepens. The absence of words does not create isolation, but connection. Participants often report feeling closer to strangers after a retreat than to friends they have known for years. The reason is simple. Silence reveals our shared humanity. Without chatter, status, or performance, we sit as equals. This mirrors Stoic teaching that all humans are part of a larger body, limbs of the same organism. Shared silence becomes a living experience of this truth. It heals not only stress but loneliness, reminding us that connection does not always require words. The rise of silent retreats also reflects a longing for simplicity. Modern life is filled with complexity: emails, bills, notifications, choices. Retreats strip this away, offering simple meals, simple schedules, simple days. This simplicity echoes Stoic values. Marcus Aurelius wrote of eating, sleeping, and working in alignment with nature, without excess. Seneca praised poverty not for its own sake, but for its clarity, its reminder that peace comes from needing little. Silent retreats remind Americans of this forgotten truth. Simplicity heals. It restores balance, quiets anxiety, and reminds us that enough is often far less than we think. Of course, critics argue that wellness retreats are just another form of privilege, available only to the wealthy. There is truth in this critique, and the Stoics would agree. They would warn against turning silence into a commodity. Yet the popularity of these retreats points to a deeper cultural need, one that can be met in many forms. Silence is free. Reflection is free. What retreats offer is structure and community, but the essence can be practiced anywhere. The Stoic challenge is to bring silence home, to weave it into daily life, to practice community not only in luxury retreats, but in ordinary neighborhoods. As we consider the future of wellness travel, the integration of Stoicism offers both opportunity and responsibility. Silent retreats can be powerful experiences, but without philosophy, they risk being shallow escapes. With Stoicism, they become transformative practices. They teach participants not only to find peace in the retreat, but to live with resilience outside it. They remind Americans that silence is not a luxury, but a discipline, not an escape, but a return to what matters. The experience of silence within community retreats often brings participants face to face with themselves in ways they never expected. At first, the lack of conversation feels strange, even threatening. Americans are used to filling every moment with words, with background noise, with digital chatter. In silence, there is nowhere to hide. Thoughts surface, emotions rise, and the mind reveals its restlessness. Many describe the first hours of a silent retreat as the hardest. Time slows, the impulse to reach for the phone grows strong, and discomfort feels overwhelming. Yet this discomfort is precisely the point. The Stoics taught that we must not avoid discomfort, but embrace it as a teacher. Seneca wrote that voluntary discomfort strengthens the soul, reminding us of how little we truly need. In silence, we confront the discomfort of ourselves, and in that confrontation, we begin to heal. Burnout and stress are often intensified by the inability to pause. People move from one task to the next, filling every gap with entertainment or distraction. Retreats break this cycle by enforcing pause, by insisting that silence is enough. For the Stoics, this pause is not wasted time, but essential discipline. Marcus Aurelius reflected that withdrawing into oneself is necessary to return stronger to the duties of life. When Americans step away from their routines to sit in silence, they are not running away, they are preparing. They are creating the mental space needed to face life with resilience. Shared silence also reveals something profound about community. In everyday life, conversations often revolve around roles and performances. What we do for work, where we live, how successful we appear. These conversations, while polite, can be shallow. In silence, those roles dissolve. People sit together as equals, sharing presence instead of performance. Participants often report feeling a deep sense of connection with others at retreats, even without exchanging a word. This connection mirrors Stoic teaching that we are all citizens of the same universe, bound together by reason and nature. In silence, the truth of this interconnectedness is not spoken but felt. The wellness travel industry often frames retreats as escapes from the world. The marketing highlights picturesque mountains, luxury accommodations, or exotic destinations. But the Stoics would caution against confusing setting with substance. Epictetus lived with almost nothing, yet he practiced calm. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in war camps, not spas. Seneca reflected in exile. The essence of silence is not tied to location, but to discipline. While retreats provide structure, true healing comes when participants internalize the practice. The goal is not to depend on retreats for peace, but to carry silence into daily life, to find calm in the city, on the commute, or in the noise of a crowded home. One way Stoicism enriches the retreat experience is by giving participants tools for reflection. Many retreats encourage journaling, but Stoic journaling has a unique flavor. It is not about recording events, but about examining judgments. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, "What disturbed me today? Did I act with justice? What can I let go of?" These questions transform journaling from simple awareness into training for virtue. Participants who journal through a Stoic lens leave retreats not only calmer but wiser, better prepared to handle stress with clarity. Another layer of Stoic wisdom relevant to retreats is the practice of premeditatio malorum, imagining difficulties before they happen. While silence often brings peace, it can also stir anxiety about returning to normal life. Participants fear that the calm will vanish once emails, deadlines, and noise return. The Stoics anticipated this problem. By practicing mental preparation, they reduce the shock of adversity. A participant might reflect, "Yes, I will face stress when I return. Yes, my phone will buzz with notifications, but I will meet them differently now. I have trained in silence, I can carry this calm forward." In this way, retreats become not just temporary relief, but rehearsal for resilience. The demand for retreats also reflects a cultural hunger for simplicity. In modern America, complexity dominates schedules, finances, technology, obligations. Retreats strip this away, offering simple meals, repetitive routines, and minimal possessions. Participants rediscover that joy can be found in walking slowly, in eating mindfully, in breathing deeply. This simplicity echoes Stoic values. Seneca praised simple living, reminding us that wealth often burdens more than it frees. Marcus Aurelius reflected that human beings need little to live well. Silent retreats make this truth experiential, showing participants that peace is not in excess, but in less. Still, retreats carry risks if not approached with wisdom. Some participants treat them as consumer products, chasing retreat after retreat without integrating the lessons into daily life. This can become spiritual tourism, a cycle of escapes that never transform reality. Stoicism corrects this by insisting on application. Wisdom is not for retreats alone, but for the marketplace, the home, the workplace. A retreat is valuable only if it changes how you live afterward. If silence does not transform daily speech, if calm does not carry into stressful moments, then the retreat becomes a temporary indulgence. Stoic philosophy ensures the lessons endure. The rise of community retreats also intersects with America's loneliness epidemic. Despite constant digital connection, many Americans feel profoundly isolated. Silent retreats paradoxically address this loneliness by creating connection without words. Participants feel seen not through conversation but through presence. This shared silence becomes healing, reminding people that belonging is deeper than talk. Stoicism affirms this truth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that humans are social animals, meant to live in harmony with others. By experiencing silent community, participants rediscover a form of togetherness that technology cannot provide. We must also acknowledge that retreats are not easy. Silence brings up restlessness, boredom, even fear. But the Stoics would argue that difficulty is the point. Growth never comes through comfort alone. Epictetus told his students to expect hardship, to welcome it as training. In this way, the discomfort of silence becomes resilience training. A participant who learns to sit quietly with their own thoughts builds strength for facing life's noise. They discover that they can endure boredom, that they can resist distraction, that they can hold steady when the mind rebels. This strength carries back into daily life, reducing stress by proving that discomfort is survivable. The popularity of silent retreats also speaks to a longing for meaning. Many participants are not only seeking rest, but also purpose. They want to know how to live better, not just how to relax. Stoicism meets this need directly. It teaches that a meaningful life is not found in endless busyness or digital noise, but in living according to virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, temperance. Silent retreats create the space for this reflection, and Stoicism gives it direction. Together, they address not only symptoms of stress, but roots of dissatisfaction. As Americans increasingly turn to wellness travel, the integration of Stoicism offers a way to deepen the movement. Without philosophy, retreats risk being commodified escapes. With Stoicism, they become transformative practices. Silence becomes not only absence of noise, but presence of wisdom. Community becomes not only shared space, but shared humanity. Retreats become not only breaks, but training grounds for life. In this way, the growing trend of silent retreats in America aligns naturally with ancient Stoic wisdom, bridging modern longing with timeless truth. The true value of community retreats is revealed not during the silence itself, but in what follows. After days of quiet meals, slow walks, and reflection, participants step back into the noise of modern America. Airports, traffic, emails, social media. At first, the contrast feels overwhelming, yet many report that they carry something new, a steadiness, a sense of perspective, an inner calm that does not disappear even when the noise returns. This is the deeper purpose of retreat, not to escape forever, but to return stronger. And this is where Stoicism aligns perfectly with the modern retreat movement. It insists that wisdom is proven not in retreat, but in life. Silence trains us, but action tests us. Healing happens in stillness, but resilience is built in the return. Stoicism teaches that challenges are not interruptions to life, but part of it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he would meet difficult people, frustrating events, and unexpected problems. The value of his meditations was not that they sheltered him, but that they prepared him. Silent retreats serve the same role. They prepare Americans for the storms of modern life by giving them space to practice calm, presence, and clarity. The retreat itself is not the victory. The ability to carry silence into a noisy world is. In this way, Stoicism transforms a trend into a discipline. This discipline matters because the digital world will not slow down. Notifications will not vanish. The pressure to perform, to compare, to consume will not disappear. Without philosophy, the relief from retreats risks being temporary. People may feel calm for a weekend, only to spiral back into stress on Monday. Stoicism prevents this by giving silence a framework. It says, take the calm you felt in the retreat and apply it when your inbox fills. Take the clarity you found in the woods and apply it when your phone buzzes. Take the presence you practiced at meals and apply it at the dinner table with your family. In this way, the retreat becomes not an isolated event, but a seed planted in daily life. Another reason Stoicism strengthens the retreat experience is its insistence on virtue. Many wellness retreats risk becoming self-indulgent, focused only on personal peace. But the Stoics taught that true peace cannot be separated from justice, courage, and service. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he was born to work for others, not only for himself. Epictetus taught that freedom is found in living rightly, not in chasing comfort. When participants approach retreats through a Stoic lens, they see that silence is not selfish but preparatory. By healing themselves, they return ready to serve their families, communities, and workplaces with more patience, wisdom, and compassion. Silence becomes not escape, but empowerment. Shared silence also carries lessons for community life in America. Modern society often emphasizes individualism, competition, and personal branding. Retreats quietly dismantle this. When people sit together without words, they realize how much they share. Strangers feel like companions, not rivals. Connection happens not through performance, but through presence. This echoes Stoic teaching that all humans are part of one larger whole. Marcus Aurelius wrote that harming another is like harming your own hand. In shared silence, this truth is felt deeply. For a nation struggling with division and polarization, this practice of collective calm could be healing. It reminds Americans that beneath differences, we are united in the simple act of being human. The longing for retreats also reflects a longing for simplicity. Modern Americans are drowning in choices: streaming services, social media platforms, career options, consumption. While choice seems like freedom, it often creates exhaustion. Retreats strip this away. There are no endless decisions, just when to eat, when to walk, when to sit. This simplicity is healing because it aligns with human nature. The Stoics valued simplicity not as deprivation, but as wisdom. Seneca argued that those who need little are richest. Silent retreats give participants a taste of this truth, and many leave realizing they can simplify their daily lives. Fewer possessions, fewer distractions, fewer unnecessary obligations. Simplicity is not loss, it is liberation. Critics point out that retreats are often expensive and exclusive, accessible mainly to the privileged. This critique is valid, but Stoicism offers a corrective. It reminds us that silence does not need to be purchased. Marcus Aurelius found his retreat within himself, in moments between battles and meetings. Seneca found his peace even in exile. Epictetus found his calm despite poverty and pain. Americans can practice the essences of retreats without traveling anywhere. They can create silent meals with family, device-free evenings, or moments of shared stillness in community spaces. The principle matters more than the setting. Retreats may spark the desire, but Stoicism ensures it endures beyond luxury. The growing popularity of silent retreats also signals a cultural shift. Americans are beginning to recognize that constant noise, hustle, and performance cannot sustain life. They are searching for alternatives, for practices that restore rather than deplete. This is why Stoicism resonates so strongly today. It doesn't offer escape from challenges, but wisdom for meeting them. It does not promise luxury, but clarity. It does not remove stress, but transforms our relationship to it. When combined with community retreats, Stoicism can help shape a healthier culture, one that values presence, resilience, and shared humanity over busyness and distraction. So what does this mean for you, the person watching? It means that silence is available to you, whether in a mountain retreat or in your living room. It means that calm is not something to be bought, but something to be practiced. It means that burnout is not inevitable, and that resilience is within reach. You do not need to escape forever to find peace. You need to practice it daily. Silent retreats can help, but Stoicism ensures it lasts. Together they offer a path out of exhaustion and into clarity, out of division and into connection, out of stress and into resilience. And this is where we close with an invitation. If this message has resonated with you, if you see yourself in the exhaustion of modern life and long for a different way, then take the next step with us. Subscribe to Think Fresh Daily for more videos that connect ancient wisdom with modern struggles. Like this video if it reminded you that peace is possible. Share it with someone who is overwhelmed and could use the reminder that silence heals. Together, we can build a community not only of shared silence but of shared wisdom. A community that carries stoic calm into a noisy age. The world outside will remain busy. Technology will remain loud. Life will remain unpredictable. But with the practice of silence and the philosophy of Stoicism, you can face it all with steadiness, with resilience, and with calm. That choice is always within your control.